The truth in her silence. The Monica Jackson trial. The morning sun filtered through the towering windows of the courthouse, casting angular streaks of gold across the solemn floor. The room smelled faintly of old wood, coffee, and something colder expectation. Every bench in the courtroom was filled, not just by reporters or curious townsfolk, but by something heavier, the weight of unspoken bias. Tension had a name that morning, and it was Monica Jackson. She sat silently at the defendant's table, her posture impeccable, as though even her spine understood discipline. Her white blouse was crisp, her black slacks tailor not flashy, but resolute. Her skin, a rich chestnut brown, reflected the sunlight as though lit from within. Her hair was braided tightly and pulled behind her shoulders. There were no earrings, no makeup, just presence. Quiet, confident, commanding. The bailiff's voice echoed across the high ceilings as he called the court to order. All rise for the Honorable Judge Howard Grayson. Judge Grayson, white-haired and worn by years of hard decisions, stepped up to the bench. A seasoned judge whose neutrality had long been challenged by the whispers of bias. Grayson nonetheless held a unique kind of weight in this case one he seemed more aware of than usual. The court will now hear the case of the state versus Monica Jackson, he announced. The murmurs in the courtroom grew louder. All eyes turned to the center of the room as Officer Bradley Simmons shifted smugly in his chair at the prosecution table. Dressed in a spotless police uniform, with slicked-back blonde hair and a jawline sharpened by arrogance, Simmons had the look of a man who believed the room already belonged to him. Monica's attorney, Benjamin Carter, was visibly younger. He had graduated from Howard Law School just 3 years prior and still carried the weight of student debt and idealism. He was good but green. Carter stood. "We're ready, Your Honor." Judge Grayson nodded. "Officer Simmons, you may take the stand." As Simmons stood, his every movement was performative. He paused to adjust his cuffs, made eye contact with the jury, and even spared Monica a condescending glance. Then he swore the oath and began his testimony. He described an encounter on a quiet street. He said Monica had been loitering. He said she refused to identify herself. He claimed she raised her voice. Then, the punchline, she reached for my weapon. The gallery murmured in response. The judge struck his gavel. Monica remained stone still. When her turn came to testify, the courtroom held its collective breath. She walked to the stand with poise. Her voice low, calm, deliberate, recounted a very different version of the evening. "I was checking my phone for directions," she said. "He shone a flashlight in my face and demanded ID. I asked if I was being detained. I wasn't loud. I wasn't combative. I just wanted to understand." She detailed how Simmons had grabbed her arm when she asked for clarity, how he tightened his grip when she asked to be released. And then he said, her voice dropped just enough to make the courtroom lean in, "Women like you need to learn how to listen." Gasps. Whispers. The judge's gavel struck harder this time. "Do you have proof of that claim?" the prosecutor demanded, clearly irritated. Monica looked at him, unblinking. "No," she said. "Because the body cam he was wearing? It malfunctioned." Simmons shifted in his chair. For the first time, there was a crack in the mask. The tension swelled until the judge adjourned for the day. Outside the courthouse, Monica stood on the steps and faced the fading sun. Carter approached her, eyes full of questions. "You're holding something back," he whispered. She nodded. "Come to my home. Tonight." That night, in a modest house at the edge of town, Monica handed him a Foldera leather-bound military file. Carter opened it slowly, each page another revelation. "You were a Navy SEAL," he whispered. "Lieutenant Commander. Retired." His eyes scanned the citations. Silver Star, Bronze Star, Joint Service Commendation Medal, deployment after deployment. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because it's not about me," she said, sitting across from him. "It's about a system that assumes women like me are threats before it asks questions." Simmons isn't an outlier. He's a symptom. The next morning, the courtroom was fuller than ever. News had spread. Monica wore a dark blue blazer. Her demeanor? Unchanged. Calm. Focused. Simmons testified again, this time with sweat on his brow. When the defense cross-examined, Benjamin Carter was not nervous anymore. "You've served 10 years on the force, Officer Simmons. How many times has your body cam malfunctioned?" Simmons hesitated. "Once." "Convenient," Carter said, pacing. "And is it also a coincidence that someone in the area captured your interaction with MS Jackson on video?" The gallery erupted. The judge ordered the footage played. There it was, grainy, muffled but unmistakable. "I'm not resisting." "Let go of my arm," Monica's voice said. And then came Simmons' words, "Women like you don't get to question me." The courtroom broke into chaos. Even the judge looked stunned. When order returned, Carter stood. The defense calls Monica Jackson to the stand. She took her place once again. This time, Carter asked what everyone wanted to know. "Lieutenant Commander Jackson," he said, using her title purposefully, "what is your experience with high-pressure situations?" "I've operated in active combat zones, led reconnaissance missions behind enemy lines, dealt with threats you'll never read about in the news." "And did you, at any point, reach for Officer Simmons' weapon?" "No," she said. "I've trained with more weapons than he's ever held. If I'd wanted his firearm, he wouldn't have known until it was too late. But I didn't, because I wasn't a threat. I was a woman asking why she was being harassed." Then she said the words that shifted everything. "He didn't see me as a veteran, or a citizen, or even a woman. He saw my skin. He saw defiance where there was only dignity." The room fell into silence, so deep it felt holy. Then Carter dropped the final blow: Simmons' disciplinary record, excessive force complaints, internal investigations, all swept under the rug until now. The jury deliberated for just over 2 hours. When they returned, the courtroom stood still. "We find the defendant, Monica Jackson, not guilty on all charges," the foreperson said. A beat, then applause, then tears, and then came the second statement. "We recommend an immediate investigation into Officer Simmons' conduct." Monica stood tall and still. Outside, reporters swarmed her. Cameras flashed. "This isn't just my victory," she said. "It's a reminder that justice doesn't require shouting, it just requires someone to speak when it matters." Weeks later, Simmons was fired. He was indicted for perjury. Internal Affairs reopened cases he'd buried. Monica returned to her life. But invitations poured in to speak, to lead, to teach. She declined most of them. Instead, she visited schools, spoke to young girls, sat with veterans who felt invisible. Because for Monica Jackson, the fight had never ended. She had just chosen a new battlefield. And this time, she wasn't carrying a weapon. She was carrying the truth.